Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Motley Fool conversation. I'm Andy Cross. Teradata is a data analytics platform company that helps companies understand their data and make better decisions by using cloud technology, AI, and machine learning. Its stock symbol is TDC with a market cap of about $2 billion. Joining me today, I'm pleased to welcome Teradata's president and CEO, Steve McMillan. Steve, welcome to the Motley Fool.
Hey, Andy, it's great to be here with you. Looking
Well,
forward to the conversation.
Yeah, really appreciate your time because you're in such an exciting space when it comes to data analytics and AI, and we'll hopefully have a wide-ranging conversation about those topics. But let's kick it off for those who might not be as familiar with Teradata. Talk to our viewers and our listeners about what you all do and which kind of companies and clients do you serve.
Yeah, thanks, Andy. Teradata actually, you could say, created the category of enterprise data warehousing. Um, Before I joined the company, actually, I was talking to one of our customers, and they said Teradata is the 1,000-pound gorilla from an enterprise data warehouse perspective. You guys can do things with data that nobody else can do. And we did that on premise, behind the firewall, in data centers. And when I joined the company in 2020, I took on the remit to help transform the company into a cloud company. But nothing ever stands still, Andy. So
No.
it's I think you have to reinvent your company every 6 months or you end up being irrelevant. So it's been a great journey. But, we serve the world's largest enterprises in terms of helping them manage and wrangle their most difficult data and analytics problems. And we now do that for them in their data centers and also in the cloud and increasingly in hybrid environments. So having data split between the cloud and on-prem and how to get the best out of their data. And that's been magnified by all of the shift recently towards AI. So super exciting times.
And Steve, talk a little bit about the public versus private cloud, and then I want to talk a little bit about some verticals that you're selling into right now. But it is so dynamic on premise cloud, but we have public cloud, we have private cloud, we have a mix and match. Customers are using now more and more. Security, obviously important. Talk a little bit about the public private cloud balance.
Yeah, so what we saw is when I started back in 2020, we had a fairly nascent cloud business. I'm going to say less than $50 million of our $1.5 billion in revenues. But over the last 5 years, we've grown that considerably. We exited 2024 with a $600 million cloud business. So really helped organizations transform from on-prem towards the cloud. So nearly 50% of our revenue, as we're looking in 2025 to exit with more than $700 million of cloud business. Okay. So that gives you an idea of like how we have shifted and transformed the company over the last 5 years fairly significantly. And we've done that on the basis of technology innovation and working with our clients to serve them in the environment that they choose. So we wanted to have an open and connected multi-cloud capability that spans AWS, Azure, Google, and back into on-prem. And you asked a question about, how does that split out? We see that maybe more than 50% of our customers that actually operate with us in cloud still operate with us in on-prem.
Oh, fascinating.
And we're seeing that magnified as well with the AI, where data sovereignty becomes more and more important. And you mentioned some of the industry and some of the country context that comes into play with. And I think that's given a really interesting dimension to where customers want to put their data.
Steve, is there security issues there with why a customer would want to continue with on-prem because there's so many advantages to the cloud?
Yeah, I would just call it a data sovereignty.
Okay.
Those customers, or entities, they want to control and own their data. They want to know where it is. They want to know where it is geographically. They might want to keep it in their data center. Some of the companies that we work with, there's no viable cloud option. And it's been really exciting because of the way that the Teradata platform works to actually enable customers where there might not be cloud capabilities. Some of our Middle East customers are less inclined to utilize some of the public cloud capabilities, but enabling those customers to use advanced AI services on-prem inside the Teradata environment has become a really interesting use case for us. So I would call it more of a data sovereignty, data ownership, making sure that an organization can put all of the controls that they want around their data. But on the other side of that, some of the largest corporations that we work with in the US have moved 100%
Right.
to the cloud. We work with one of the airlines, American Airlines is one of our companies we do some great work with. And they actually have moved their Teradata environment 100% to the Microsoft cloud and Azure. And so they have built up all of the security, all of the capabilities that they need in the cloud. So we see it as a bit of a choice. We enable customers with choice of, do you want to deploy in the cloud, or do you want to deploy on-prem, or do you want that hybrid environment?
And Steve, talk to us where I want to get into this when it comes to AI and machine learning, but you mentioned the evolution of your cloud business from next to nothing a few years ago to where it is today. The inside the company, how does one marshal a cultural shift like that from a technology? I mean, you have thousands and thousands of employees, so that shift to push aggressively to the cloud, how did you navigate that when you first came in as CEO in 2020?
Yeah, taking that, we actually refer to it now as Teradata 1.0, the first, actually 35 plus years of history of the company,
Right.
like inventing the data warehouse and marketplace, inventing industry data models, and shifting it to Teradata 2.0, focused on the cloud. That was a major organizational, cultural shift. But I have to tell you, the folks inside Teradata, the Teradata team really responded to that challenge with a high degree of excitement and enthusiasm. We actually said, we are going to shift and we're going to be a cloud-first company. At our core, we're going to be a technology company. We're going to be cloud-first. And the company really embraced that. And we actually, within the course of 2 months, shifted our R&D envelope, where it was 70% focused on prem and 30% in the cloud, to 70% in the cloud and 30% in on-prem
In 2 months.
in 2 months.
Wow.
And the message that sent to, the 5,000 plus team members that we have inside Teradata was incredibly significant. Our sales team felt the confidence that we had in our technology and being able to deploy our technology in the cloud. And our sales team took that out to the marketplace really aggressively. And that enabled us to, more than double our cloud revenues in the first 12 months after I joined the company.
And are you seeing parallels with that with AI and machine learning? I was just doing my background checks, Steve, and so I was just looking at some other media that you had done. And a few years ago, when you released and announced the Vantage Cloud and the Vantage Cloud Lake, so much of the this was 2022.
Yep.
So much of it was all about the cloud. And now so much it has shifted towards AI and machine learning. Is there a parallel with the cultural shift inside and with your clients?
In the last 12 months, it's been about Teradata 3.0.
Okay.
So, and that's really been encapsulated now. And we started off by talking about a hybrid data platform for AI and advanced analytics. But even that is shifted. I said, like, every 6 months, you have to reinvent your company to remain relevant in this marketplace. Now we're actually thinking about Teradata as a knowledge platform for agentic AI, giving context to enterprise knowledge that's embedded in the enterprise data within an organization to language models so that they can serve in this world of agentic AI, which is completely going to disrupt the software industry. And I've been really fortunate over the last couple of months to bring in some new great leaders who understand that market, they understand that opportunity, and we're doing that pivot yet again from that focus on on-prem and cloud, a hybrid, open, connected data platform, to how do we serve AI?
Mm-hmm.
And I just one great example of that. We went from concept to press release in 1 month for a the model context protocol server for Teradata, which enables every language model to understand what Teradata engines inside our customers can serve from a data perspective to a language model to generate business outcomes. So 1 month release times is now what we're looking at in terms of AI and agentic AI capabilities.
And Steve,
It's a super exciting time.
how have you marshaled? How have you encouraged or motivated the thousands of employees, whether they're in technology or not, inside Teradata, to get on the AI train?
You know what? I don't need to encourage them. They're already motivated. They
Okay.
are technologists at heart.
Okay.
They want to be working on the most advanced industry topics.
Okay.
When we did the pivot to the cloud, Andy, when we did the pivot to the cloud, we attracted back to Teradata over 100 engineers that had left and gone to an AWS or an Azure or a Salesforce. They loved Teradata, but they wanted to see Teradata succeed in the cloud.
Okay.
They came back to Teradata when we made that pivot. And you know what? As we've made the pivot to AI, that level of enthusiasm, the level of innovation, the level of creativity has accelerated yet again. And I can see it in our product organization, our consulting, our services organization, that when they talk to customers, our customers know that their industries are at risk of being disrupted if they are not taking advantage of these AI technologies. Yeah,
And
and so that enthusiasm is just built in. It's super. When I talk to a customer about how they're adopting AI, some of them are adopting it to improve their operational efficiency and effectiveness. Maybe using it to write code or generate
mhm.
marketing materials or proposals. Others are actually looking at how AI can be embedded in their product and service, completely transform the product and service. And then the most advanced customers have an eye on how is AI going to change my industry? Now, I was talking to the chief data officer of a consumer packaged goods company, and he was talking about he sees the day. Well, he's in a day just now where they have merchandisers selling toothpaste, as an example, to Walmart. Yeah. And the merchandiser is now being augmented by an agent that is given advice in the negotiation between the merchandiser and the buyer. And so he was talking about how he sees that transforming to essentially being a battle of the bot, right? Agentic agents talking and negotiating with one another, utilizing the data, the rich data that's inside their organizations to get the best possible deal. And that's a transformation of an industry. That's like when high frequency trading hit the financial services marketplace. That's the level of shift that we're now looking at. Just as advanced technology transformed industries like financial services, we're going to see agentic AI transform industries from healthcare through financial services to consumer. Everything is going to be transformed from an AI perspective.
So, Steve, before we get into some of the products and the way that Teradata is taking advantage of this market, there has been just more and more recent talk about the ROI, the return on investment of AI. I'm worries about companies not getting that kind of return. You're obviously in the mix. What do you say to the AI doubters out there that are seeing, oh my gosh, companies are spending billions and billions, but we haven't yet seen that maybe turn into revenue opportunities? Talk to us about that.
I think organizations have to learn from lessons of the past.
Okay.
If you look at more than 70% of data and analytics projects fail. Now, That doesn't stop data and analytics projects getting executed, because the ultimate value from the 30% they exceed help to transform a company. So you have to be a fearless leader in this market in terms of actually executing that transformational program, just like it was data and analytics last year. Now it's about agentic AI and how you embrace agentic AI and be that fearless leader. But what we've seen when we work with our customers is it's not a problem of them not having an idea of how they would like to use AI or agentic AI capabilities. It's not the fact that they can't create a language model to actually operate and help operationalize that idea. It's actually promoting it into production at enterprise scale that becomes the real problem. And so, from a Teradata perspective, we work with the largest customers in the world, and that means that we can work with any organization on the planet to help them actually operationalize and put into production AI solutions that actually work. So we help them. That last hurdle of going into production is where Teradata comes into play.
And it's really that scale that's important. Let's talk a little bit about that, Steve. When you look at Teradata's solutions, the innovations, and the new products, talk a little bit about what makes you unique in the marketplace and how you're serving clients with some of this new evolution of products that you're bringing to the marketplace.
Yeah, it's super interesting. Teradata actually, our core technology is actually based on a massively parallel architecture. And if you've had NVIDIA, who's one of our partners, and to talk about, well, how does a GPU work? How do these chips that actually power AI work? They actually work in massively parallel architectures. So they're dividing up the work, and they're very optimized in terms of how they're using compute capability to deliver an outcome. The Teradata platform is actually built on a massively parallel architecture. And then if you think about how do AI solutions work? Well, they actually work as a result of lots of vectors, right? Working out like what things are alike and having a vector database installed. Teradata at its core is also a vector database. So our differentiation in terms of helping organizations deploy these incredibly complex technology is actually built into the foundational elements of our technology architecture in terms of our massively parallel architecture combined with our vector database capabilities that enable customers to get access to petabyte scales of information in the most efficient and effective way. When I talk to a customer about, what are the three things that you want from your AI solution? Well, first off, they want it to be trusted. They want the data and the responses from these AI solutions is something that they can trust. They want it to be ethical. They want to be able to understand how these solutions are powering an outcome. And then they want it to be, I'll use the term sustainable, but I'll call that efficient and effective.
Sure.
You've heard about, when you say thank you to ChatGPT, it uses a gallon of water, right?
Right.
So, being very efficient, effective means lower cost in terms of the deployment of those solutions. That trust in terms of the data that's been fed into these models is something that's core to the data governance and data management that Teradata has always had. That ethical execution in terms of, hey, don't use a massive language model that's pulling in lots of different data from the internet. Use a small language model or a medium-sized language model, either inside the Teradata environment or pulled in from the cloud to actually, so how that model works, how that model's been trained in very specific ways. And then from a sustainability and efficiency and effectiveness, a cost perspective, use the Teradata engine that's designed to be the most effective data processor in the world to actually serve that workload into your workflows, into your business processes for that advantage.
And Steve, when you and your team go to sell the products, either a new client or an existing client. Talk to us a little bit about the evolution of that sales process. Has that changed? Are you now talking to CEOs as much as CTOs or CIOs? How is Teradata evolving with the changing way that you have to sell your software solutions?
Yeah, the whole conversations are changing much more towards a use case bias. So it's all about, and it's very interesting. It's funny. When I joined the company, I found a rich treasure trove of intellectual capital that Teradata has called our industry data models. So our industry data models mean that we can essentially go to a new financial services company or a new healthcare company, and we can say, "Hey, this is the data model that you need. This is the data schema." But not only that, these are all the use cases that you have to think about in terms of, it may be from a financial services perspective, risk, fraud management, from a healthcare perspective, it may be, patient management, and this is the data that you require from a patient management perspective. And so, and I actually asked one of our industry consultants, "Hey, how long have you been working on these data models?" And she said, "Well, my kid's like 23 now, and I actually started work on that the year before they were born."
Wow.
And so we have this rich trove of knowledge of how industries utilize data and then use that data to power use cases. And we are seeing the swing back in the conversation to be, how can we use AI and now agentic AI to power those use cases in terms of execution in our customers' environment? And when you combine the data structures, the data knowledge that we have with the workflows and the use cases that we understand together with our technology, it's a really unbeatable combination for our customers to take advantage of.
You mentioned on the recent call, Steve, that you had realigned your marketing efforts. Just talk a little bit about how the changes you may have made recently on the marketing or sales side that hopefully will pay dividends in the near future.
Yeah, I think what we've really seen is pushing marketing as close to the front line as we possibly can, gives that fidelity of response to ensure that we are immediately responding to the market opportunities that are in front of us, and that we are dynamically taking the right message to the market. I think gone are the days of like big brand advertising. This is all about something that Teradata does every day for our customers: hyper personalization. How do we construct absolutely the right message at the right time that's going to resonate with a CMO or a CRO or a technology executive? How do we make sure we've got marketing really at the ground level, targeted with a high fidelity on the right messages to the right clients and the right personas in those clients? And that's really the change that we've executed recently.
So will
It's
we not?
also enabled us to optimize how we do marketing, utilizing advanced analytics, advanced data and analytics in terms of execution. So that's super interesting. Eating our own cake. I wouldn't say dog food. We're eating our own cake.
Yeah, your own pudding. Will we not see a Teradata on a football front of a football jersey sponsorship anytime soon?
I'm going to try and avoid that. I don't think my shareholders would be very happy with
Yes.
that. So I think we're going to use our shareholder capital in a really intelligent way to maximize the return on investment. So
Yeah, I think
and
that's
hey,
very smart.
and if the answer says like, hey, if we put our logo on an F1 car and we'll get the return from that, then we'll certainly do it. But I want to do that based on data and facts, because we're a data company.
Yeah, that's right. Well, yes, exactly. Speaking of eating your own cooking, you would
Yeah.
certainly have the data to be able to back that up. You mentioned on the latest call about retention rates. Talk a little bit about retention rates. They're seeing some nice improvements. What is driving a lot of the perhaps increased engagement with your client base?
Yeah, I think we've really crossed a hurdle from a Teradata perspective, and we need to continue to demonstrate that consistently. And we're going to do that. I think we're going to do that this year in terms of how we set out our outlook and returning the company to ARR growth. But we've crossed the chasm. Now that we're approaching like 50% of our revenue in the cloud, we have crossed the chasm of saying to our customers, we are modern and relevant and have earned the right to be a part of your architecture into the future. But not only that, the innovation that we have developed over the last 40 years and the innovation that we're bringing to market, like our MCP server, is enables us to let you take advantage of all of that investment over the last 40 years for the benefit of your company in a modern and relevant way. And that can be in the cloud, and it can be on-prem, and it can be a hybrid deployment model. And so our customers are really buying into, hey, Teradata have got a great value proposition here. I'm in the UK just now. I was talking to one of the large banks yesterday, actually, about how they are utilizing Teradata inside their environment. They're using it in the cloud and they're using it on-prem. And they see significant value in the core value proposition in Teradata to actually help them meet their business objectives as they move forward.
Steve, when you think about the competitive landscape, you've worked at just some massive companies in your career who are dealing with all legacy issues, as you mentioned. It's so competitive these days. And you just mentioned one of the advantages, but how is Teradata being so flexible in a competitive environment against cloud native solutions or other upstart competitors that might come up, as well as the likes of a Databricks or a Snowflake or even Amazon and Microsoft? How are you being competitive for both of those sides of the competitive landscape?
Yeah, I think, look, our core technology enables us to be the most efficient, effective knowledge platform for the autonomous enterprise for the future. So that efficiency and effectiveness, the cost of running our environment, the cost of deploying AI solutions when you're utilizing Teradata as a part of that AI capability is unmatched. Not only that, our core technology, I used to work at IBM and I ran one of the largest financial services clients that IBM had. And I tried to take Teradata out every single day when I was inside that customer, and I couldn't do it. And the reason was it was so well embedded into the organization. It was so efficient, so effective. There was no ROI that would enable you to remove Teradata. But we have turned that into an innovation engine now. So the reason that our customers stay with us, the reason that our customers grow with us, is the innovation that we can bring, the innovation that we help them deliver every single day. Agentic AI is going to transform the entire software landscape. If you think about it, Andy, if you think of any SaaS application, Salesforce or Workday or whatever it may be, it's essentially just a database, a whole database structure with a UI on top of it and workflows embedded. And so I think ServiceNow have got a really they could see the opportunity to disrupt the entire SaaS landscape because they are the kings of workflow. And I would propose that Teradata are the kings of data management and having a great data platform and an enterprise grade industrial scale data platform. So our most recent partnerships with ServiceNow, I see the opportunity for ServiceNow and Teradata together to disrupt the entire software landscape from an enterprise IT perspective. And that vision is really resonating inside our customers just now.
Well, certainly ServiceNow is such an aspiring, what Bill McDermott has done to that company and positioned them in such a critical landscape. They're not only a great partner of yours, but also a great aspiration, I think, and a good model on how Teradata can interact with so many different pieces of the stack.
Yeah, I was delighted to be a part of the knowledge conference that ServiceNow ran. But thinking about Teradata as the knowledge platform that can help serve enterprise data at enterprise scale to ServiceNow agents and building ServiceNow agents on top of a knowledge platform from Teradata is an incredibly powerful value proposition as we move forward.
Steve, thank you for that example. Talk a little bit about some of the verticals and then just the balance between U.S., which is still your biggest market, but you have a large international market as well. Talk about some verticals and some different parts of the world where you're seeing the biggest opportunities.
Yeah, look, I think the thing that surprises me is Teradata serves across most verticals, right?
Mm-hmm.
Financial services certainly a leading vertical for us. Healthcare. I love the work that we do from a healthcare perspective. The examples that we have of using advanced data and analytics for patients to actually save people's lives is just like, yeah, it makes you happy to come to work when you hear
Sure.
customers
Yeah.
talking about those kind of examples, right? Be it telcos around the world depending on Teradata to operate, be it the airlines in terms of running their loyalty programs or actually running how their airline works, right? The work that we do from a manufacturing perspective in terms of connected cars. So taking all of that new data from autonomous cars and connected cars and enabling organizations to analyze that real time. So many examples across so many industries. And it's really our industry data models, the fact that we've worked with these customers for a long time and have developed the best industry leading enterprise scale solutions to help them solve problems that make it really interesting for them to work with Teradata. But and then from an international perspective, we see our on-prem capabilities, the ability to have all of these super advanced technologies and capabilities running behind the firewall. We see that as becoming more and more important, especially in the international marketplace. So the fact that you can have a Teradata platform with NVIDIA capabilities linked right in, you can run language models inside the Teradata technology stack. You don't need to reach out to the cloud to be able to run it. We're talking to some organizations like Anthropic about how we can help deploy Anthropic and Claude capabilities inside the data center. Super exciting future work that we're looking at just now. So that international business is really thinking about on-prem, and it seems to like reignite in terms of the interest from an on-prem solution and in data center solution inside the international marketplace. But again, I think what we bring to the table is choice of deployment and a lot of experience in deploying those solutions and a lot of innovation in terms of, hey, we can help you take your data platform, turn it into a knowledge platform. You can build agents on top of it, utilize our MCP server to have in-database analytics, run at orders of magnitude quicker than Databricks can run analytic solutions, run language models, small language models efficiently, effectively. It's a whole new industry for us.
I'm talking to Steve McMillan, the CEO of Teradata. Steve, before we wrap up here, just a few other questions. The balance between investment in growth and margin and cost preservation. You spend north of 15% of your sales on research and development, somewhere in that kind of range, and have been continuing to invest in that space. How do you as a CEO balance the opportunity for growth and then, oh gosh, I have to make sure we're managing our financial statement? You have a new CFO who's on board now, obviously very interested in managing the financial picture. Talk about the balance between growth and margin and profitability.
Yeah, I think I joined the company and I had one mantra, and that is profitable growth. And we have carried on that mantra in terms of execution. We have completely transformed our operating margin structure from a Teradata perspective. We've completely transformed our free cash flow structure from when I joined, and we've built a foundation for free cash flow growth into the future. And we are looking forward to demonstrate that on a more regular basis so that the investment community can understand, hey, Teradata has built a foundation for free cash flow growth and a foundation for revenue growth into the future. From a R&D perspective, we invest a considerable amount in R&D. And we have some technology moats based on, the core architecture of the technology that we have. But our new leader of our product organization, Samit Arora, we brought Samit in to really drive forward that innovation from an AI perspective, helping us take the technology and become more and more relevant from an AI. If you think about that shift in the transformation of the entire software industry, I know that Teradata can be that knowledge platform for the autonomous enterprise, enabling organizations to deploy agentic AI to completely transform how they operate and utilize the most trusted, ethical, sustainable solution from an AI perspective, and also get the advantage of all of the advanced analytics capabilities that we have inside the Teradata environment. And they can do that on-prem and in the cloud. So that innovation engine and the investment that we have in innovation has got a great platform, and it's enabling us to focus our investments in the areas where we see that we're going to win in the marketplace to move forward. And I'm really confident in how our company is going to grow forward.
Do you see, Steve, the risk that the AI investments that you're making and everyone else is making, we talked about earlier, it goes for maybe a year or two and then something else comes along the line? Or do you think the AI, we talked about the cloud and how you all pivoted to the cloud and that took some real investment, then you had to make the pivot into AI. Is there going to be something beyond AI, or do you really think AI is going to be, over the next years and decades, kind of an investment that's going to pay off?
Look, when I started with Teradata, I said at our core we're a technology company.
Yeah.
We're a software company, because we're not just about on-prem hardware. We're about how we deploy in the cloud as well.
Sure.
And we're a platform company, and we're cloud first and partner first. Being a platform company, being open and connected, means that I'm continuously ensuring that the Teradata technology platform is built to take advantage of these new shifts, these new trends, the new industry models that are coming out. Nobody thought, back in November 2022, that everybody would be talking about AI, and then
Right.
12 months, AI isn't trendy anymore. It's agentic AI,
Right.
right? If your model is not deployed in agentic AI way with a MCP server, that your AI solution that you had is so passé now,
Yeah.
right? So this industry moves so quickly. It's my job as a CEO to make sure that we are agile in our execution, we're flexible, we're able to take advantage of the new trends in the industry that are coming out. I am never going to invest $10 billion to create a language model, but I'll certainly have a data platform that enables that language model to get access to data at enterprise scale as we move forward. And that's really my focus. I have to make sure that I take this company and focus it in the right ways to maximize our growth and be absolutely relevant in the market that we're operating in. And I'm super excited about what we've done to date and how we're going to take that forward.
Steve, my final question here before we wrap up. Just talk a little bit about shareholder expectations. You buy back a lot of stock. Profitable growth, it's really on the growth side that I think you're really focused on, driving that ARR, as you talked about earlier. Talk about how you think about the returning capital to shareholders, the balance between that and lots of other ways you can spend that capital.
Yeah, I think we're in the great position of actually having very positive free cash flow.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that gives us optionality in terms of our capital allocation structure. We said that we'll return more than 50% of our free cash flow to our shareholders in terms of buyback this year. However, we're always looking at what's the right opportunity. As a public company, you've got to be growing. And so how are we investing our capital to make sure that we grow and make sure that we continue that path of increasing shareholder return? But having that position in terms of a free cash flow, a positive free cash flow, where it gives us optionality and execution, is a great place to be. And I know that John, our new CFO, is looking at that capital allocation structure. Is it optimized in the right way? How can we make sure that we're investing our capital for the benefit of our shareholders, both short and long term? But it's great to have optionality. Just like our customers have optionality on deploying our technology, we have some optionality on the cash that we're generating every single day.
Well, Steve McMillan, the CEO and president of Teradata, thank you so much for joining us here at the Motley Fool. Really appreciate your insights and learned a lot about the investments that Teradata is making into its products and hopefully to be able to take advantage of that for its customers.
Thanks very much, Andy. It was great to be with you.